You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome back, everyone. We're jumping straight into some fascinating developments in the web world today. We've got sources covering some pretty groundbreaking architecture, sharp takes on industry trends, and yeah, some genuinely cool new tools as well. The plan is to cut through that noise and get you the real story.
Absolutely. And what we're seeing is this interesting mix, isn't it? Real innovation, but also, well, a healthy dose of skepticism is needed. We'll look at how efficiency is being pushed, how old ways are being challenged, and why, thinking critically is just key right now.
Okay, let's start with something that sounds a bit paradoxical. Vercel's fluid compute. How exactly do you build a serverless server?
Right. It sounds odd. But their idea is essentially about optimizing how resources get used. They want to kill those cold starts or minimize them anyway and bring down costs.
And the tech behind it is pretty neat. They've got a custom TCP-based protocol, a Rust core, creating secure tunnels to AWS Lambda. That enables HTTP streaming. But here's the really clever bit, I think. They route incoming requests to existing idle instances that are already warm.
Exactly. Which completely changes the game from the old model, right? The whole one invocation per instance thing. You're not spinning up a new isolated environment every single time. It's much smarter reuse.
Yeah, much better utilization.
And what's really interesting to me is how they're essentially absorbing the operational complexity, shifting it away from the developer and onto the platform. It lets you focus more on just building your app, not managing all that server stuff underneath. That's a big win for developer experience.
Definitely. And speaking of shifting complexity, there's another interesting paradigm change happening over in the Python world. Virtual threads.
Yes, the
Yeah.
alternative to async await.
Right. You know how async await, while powerful, can sometimes feel complex, like learning a whole new way to structure your code? Virtual threads promise something potentially simpler, maybe more ergonomic. They push the concurrency management complexity into the interpreter itself.
So the idea is concurrent programming could become more straightforward for the developer without necessarily sacrificing the performance benefits. Interesting trade-off.
Okay, so with all this innovation, it kind of forces us to think about how we evaluate tech, doesn't it? One of our sources brings up this idea of the hype is the product.
Yeah, that's a provocative take.
The argument is that sometimes, for maybe the really big players, the stock price becomes more important than, say, customer satisfaction or actual utility. And hype, especially around things like, well, AI recently, can be used to drive investment, even if the product itself isn't quite there yet or solving a real problem.
And if you connect that to broader tech history, well, you can see patterns, perhaps.
Yeah.
It definitely raises a critical question for all of us, I think. When you see a new trend, are you looking at genuine innovation, or is the buzz itself the main thing being sold? You really have to ask, what problem does this actually solve for me, like today?
Exactly. And that ties into another point. Vibe code is legacy code.
Oh, I like that phrase. Tells a story.
It does, right? It's about code that gets slapped together quickly, maybe without fully understanding the implications, just to get something working. Fine, for a quick prototype you're going to throw away, sure. But using that approach for anything substantial, that's just creating instant technical debt.
And it's a real problem. There was a statistic mentioned, wasn't there? Something like 71% of language migrations are driven more by hype than need.
Yeah, exactly. And less than half the developers actually found those migrations worthwhile in the end. Even with AI tools, making the process of migrating code maybe a bit easier.
The underlying architectural issues, the vibe code problems, they often just come along for the ride.
Right. Which brings us nicely to some tools that do seem genuinely useful and practical. It's not all doom and gloom. Like Ollama, they've just put out native apps for macOS and Windows.
Oh, that's handy. Makes running local LLMs much easier.
Totally. Super simple to download models, chat with them locally, and it even has multimodal stuff. Like you can just drag and drop a file to have the model analyze it. Pretty cool for local development.
And sticking with AI assistance, there's also Crush, an AI coding helper that lives right in your terminal. So quick code snippets, command lookups, that sort of thing, without switching context. Very neat.
Yeah, useful stuff. Okay, and for something completely different, just a quick fun one. Ever heard of haunted math?
Haunted math. No, what's that?
It's related to Lean, this programming language mathematicians use for formal proofs. Apparently there's a command in Lean, that basically tells the proof checker, just trust me on this bit.
Uh-oh. I see where this is going.
Yeah, so you could theoretically use, to skip proving a step and, well, you could prove that 2 equals 3, for example.
Okay. a fun little loophole in formal systems. Shows the limits, I guess.
Exactly. Just a quirky little detail. So quite a journey today, huh? From next-gen compute, like Vercel's fluid compute,
To asking tough questions about tech hype versus real value.
plus some genuinely handy tools like Ollama and Crush and even that bit of haunted math.
It really does show the two sides of our field, doesn't it? Amazing innovation happening right alongside this constant need to be, well, critical and discerning. So maybe the thought to leave you with is this. As the next wave of tech rolls in, how will you tell the difference between real, useful progress and just really clever marketing?
That is a great question to mull over. Thanks for joining us for this look at what's happening out there.
Spoken Tech for your ears.